the quirkiest spaces I think I've ever seen in any house ever before.
So I don't know exactly how old these are, but they are a real feature of this part of Zimbabwe. Welcome to our home in Africa. For the last 3 years, we've been building stone by stone in Portugal, turning ruins... I'm a bit nervous about this one, love. ...to our wildest dreams and proving that bravery pays off. Yes, I win! But our story didn't begin there. Africa has always been in our blood. I grew up on a farm in Zimbabwe with wide skies and wild places shaping my childhood. And years ago, John spent months travelling across this continent.
This is me going into the DRC.
Chasing adventure, sleeping rough and falling in love with it all. Now as a family, we're coming full circle. We've bought a small homestead in Africa. Once a cattle farm, it's rough, it's raw, and exactly the kind of challenge that we live for.
So the views from the top of some of these rocks, wide open views of bush.
Most importantly, it's a place for our boys to grow up brave, free and close to nature. Portugal is our family's foundation, and it'll be a part of our story for a long time yet. We've still got a house to finish, but Africa is our next chapter.
Can you imagine the cool things we can do with spaces like this? It's going to be so much fun.
A brave choice for our family's future. We've never been afraid of hard work or big decisions, and whether we're finishing our stone house in Portugal or carving out this new life in the wilds of Africa, it's sure to be one incredible adventure. So please make sure you've subscribed to our channel, and well, what's left to do but show you guys around. So, in our last episode, we explained how we came to be here, what we're doing here, and what the plan is for this place in Zimbabwe. If you missed that episode, please go back and watch it. It will explain everything and answer probably a load of questions.
And of course, we've still got a house in Portugal to finish. So we're going to be doing our very best to run both of the projects at the same time. And so there's nothing really more to say except...
well, let's go and have a look around. Come on then.
Where should we start?
Well, at the beginning. So what we've got here is 1.7 hectares, which is, I think, roughly 4.5 acres of beautiful bush in the eastern part of Zimbabwe, which, if you don't know, is a country in southern Africa, and it's where I grew up.
Tara's lived through all sorts of chaos in this country. It has been one of those countries that's had hyperinflation, crazy numbers, billion-dollar notes. Trillion-dollar notes, and all sorts of, well, turmoil. That history is definitely history, and we've moved to a part of the country which is on the up. There is all sorts of wonderful things and development going on all around us here, even though we are smack bang in the middle of the bush. And we're excited to be here while the country develops into a more modern economy, and take you around the shops and the towns and the villages in the local area in later episodes. And I can't wait to show you around. What do the shops look like? What do people eat? Where do people live? All sorts of stuff like that. It's going to be super, super interesting. Anyway, up here, we've got the first of our buildings. We've got a not kind of broken down garage.
So here it is, our broken down not garage. It's definitely a garage, but not a garage, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, because it's falling to pieces.
I definitely wouldn't want to put my car in there right now. We've got some very busted, broken beams. One of the challenges of this part of Zimbabwe is termites. So when we're doing the renovations on this project, we're going to have to be super careful to use the right wood and to make the right decisions about how we build what we're going to build here. So if you guys have been with us a while, you'll remember that when we moved into the farm in Portugal, it had been abandoned for 20 years, and it was knackered and very, very forgotten. And it was full of other people's stuff, and it was an absolute mess. The beauty of this place is it was very, very loved, and the previous owners were very, very sad to leave. And we've come into a place that, although needs a lot of fixing up to make it our own, it definitely has a feeling of being a home already. And it's been very easy. We've spent 2 nights here so far, and it's been very easy to feel settled here, even though we're kind of really running on the minimum. Now, I'm sure loads of you are wondering how the boys are processing the news of this big move. As you guys know, we've been super happy in Portugal. We've had 4 incredible years there as a family, and the boys especially have been super settled with a little community of their own. But I think they are the most excited out of all of us because they're going to be close to their cousins. There's going to be a swimming pool. But they're going to be close to their cousins, and they've seen the schools that they're going to go to, and they can feel the difference in the life that we're going to have here. You know, my parents are literally 10 minutes down the road. So to be able to go and see Yo-Yo and Papa for a cup of tea and then go and see their cousins in the afternoon, they're pretty flippin' excited. Anyway, behind us over there is the house, but I think we should show you the land first before we go in and have a look at what we've got to work with.
You guys all know us pretty well by now, so you definitely won't be surprised if we tell you we're going to be knocking this house around and making big projects. I've got huge plans. In fact, I'm pretty sure we're going to knock at least half of the house down and start again. I've also got ideas for thatched roofs, swimming pools in the rocks.
This must be one of the best pools in the world.
I think it might be.
I think it is. You're swimming on a rock.
And tiny houses.
And hopefully at some point in the next 10 years, we actually have a house to live in. It's got more than one bedroom.
That's true.
Okay, so a huge selling point of this place is its incredible location, nestled amongst these extraordinary granite boulders and what we call here locally koppies. I never dreamed that I would be the custodian of a piece of land that is so familiar to me. You know, this is what I grew up with, and right in front of my home now, we have a cave of granite, and in that cave, we have ancient rock art. So this is just one of, I think, 3 or 4. We haven't actually managed to go and explore properly because the bush is very overgrown. But, sorry, I'm a bit puffed. We're at actually 2,000 metres above sea level where we are. So the air's a bit thinner, I think. But anyway, this is one of, I think, 3, possibly 4 kind of balancing rock formations on the property. And I'm really excited to explore the others because I hear that there are more rock art sites on the property. We can't currently get to them though because the place is completely overgrown with things like lantana, what we call blackjacks, and there's also a whole bunch of really gnarly kind of sticky seeds that get into your clothes and they're a pain in the bum to get off. So we're not going to do that right now, but come and have a look around this corner. In the background you can see the house, which is kind of looking at this cave which we're in right now. But just here on this underside of this rock are some ancient rock art paintings. I don't know exactly how old they are, but they are really, really special. And there's such a, it's just such a privilege to have that on our land. They are a real feature of this part of Zimbabwe. And in most places where you find these big granite boulders, you will find rock art. In this particular case, you can see there's a whole bunch of people here. And you can see the remnants of what would have been more figures up here. But I think because this tree root is quite literally splitting the rock, or at least growing into the crack of the rock, I think what it's creating is a bit of a wash with water. And so some of them are getting washed away. Because down here you can also see that there were some animals down here. And there's more people and figures underneath this edge as well. But obviously over the years, they've started to disappear, which is a real shame. So I would love to do a bit of research and see if there's any way that we could secure this site a bit better, just to preserve them a bit better, because this is really, really special.
recover from all the excitement over there in Africa. We are back here on the farm. This is John from the future right now. And as promised, in the next episode, we're going to be back here in Portugal, working away on the projects that we've got going on. Having two properties now on two completely different continents, I can't be in two continents at the same time. Or can I? Thank you very much, Reolink, for helping me balance and juggle two properties on two different continents. When we were packing up and going over to look at the house in Africa for the very first time, literally the first things that went into my suitcase were my Reolink cameras. Before we left, I went around the farm and I moved around a few cameras to collect a couple of cameras to take with me to Zimbabwe. I focused primarily on the Argus PT Ultras, the 4K HD resolution cameras with the big spotlights to light up very dark areas. So the first thing I did when I got to Zimbabwe was unpack my Reolink cameras and go and start setting them up around the farm. They've got solar panels attached to them, which means that even if the electricity in Zimbabwe isn't working, which is a frequent occurrence, those cameras that we've got set up in Zimbabwe are constantly going to be recorded either onto the SD card that slots in the back of the camera or straight to the home hub that we've got set up there as well. I can control the camera and move it at 360 degrees just by pushing a button on my phone. The Argus PT Ultra also has smart detection. So if anything suspicious walks past the camera, not only will a siren go off if I want it to, but it'll also send me a notification to my phone. They can motion detect whether it's a car or whether it's a person walking around. Right now, I'm in Portugal, but I can still take out my telephone and have a good look at the Reolink app and see exactly what's going on at any time on our property in Zimbabwe. I've got videos from the Portugal farm right here, and also I've got videos from Zimbabwe. Reolink have been our security solution here in Portugal for years now, and we trust them implicitly, especially because we're going to be spending long periods of time away from the farm. We want to know what's going on here. As the nights start to get longer and the darkness starts to come in, having those cameras with the spotlights like the Argus PT Ultra and the cameras with Reolink's cutting edge night vision technology. Also, let's not forget the Elite Floodlight Wi-Fi camera that completely lights up the entire courtyard. They've got cameras on their website that fit any budget, any scenario. Take a look and click on the link in the description below. Discounts available, of course, as you'd expect, and just by clicking on that link, you're going to help support our channel. You might just find something you might be up to. Right, let's teleport back to Africa. So the views from the top of some of these rocks, these koppies, are spectacular. Wide open views. It's really, really beautiful. We're so lucky that we found this location. And I'll take you up to have a look at the views from up there right now. We're going to want to clear all of this out. Can you imagine the cool things we can do with spaces like this? It's going to be so much fun. Not only that, but think about how much fun the boys are going to have hiding and climbing and hanging around. It's going to be brilliant for them. Wow, right above the tree line, and it's so special. Here we are, folks. Check it. You can see some koppies and some other rocks sticking out around us. That's about it. Like Tara said a little bit earlier, we've got 1.7 hectares, about 4.5 acres of land here, filled with koppies, musasa trees, bush, a house, a greenhouse that we're going to go and have a look at in a minute, and a couple of outhouses down at the bottom. The house, the main house, you can see below me, there's a big wall all the way around the outside of it, concrete wall. And our understanding is the people that lived here before us used to raise cows on this land. So the cows would wander freely underneath the musasa trees, and the people that lived here before, obviously they wanted their garden, their lawn, so they could entertain. The garden, by the way, is very, very special. There's so much work to do with it, and I can't wait to get stuck in. One of the first things we're going to be doing is taking down that concrete wall and opening up the space so that we can make the garden more a part of the land rather than something that's hidden away and protected from the cattle. Let's go down and have a look at the greenhouse.
Right, I'm super excited to show you guys the greenhouse because it's pretty impressive and it's going to be a huge part of our life here. Because without it, I think we might struggle with sharing most of what we grow with a bunch of monkeys. John saw them swinging through the trees the other day. Anyway, let's go and have a look. I think you guys are going to be impressed. So, here we have it. Have a look at this bad boy. So there's going to be plenty of space in here to start growing stuff, and we have actually got started because we will have a caretaker on the property for the times that we're in Portugal. And he thankfully is a very, very experienced gardener and vegetable grower. So I'm super excited to be able to get started and then leave the growing in his very capable hands. And hopefully when we come back, there's going to be a kind of bounty of brilliant food in here. Because after this episode, we will be back in Portugal, carrying on with getting that beautiful big stone house built. And in the next episode, we will be talking to you guys a little bit more about our plan for our beautiful big stone house in Portugal and what we plan to do with it, how we plan to use it. And it's pretty exciting. I'm sure you guys are really, really keen to get inside that house. But before we do that, come and have a look at this very special garden because John is pretty excited to show you there.
All right, look at that. We've already started fixing some of the plumbing. You guys all know that I love plumbing so much. One of the things that I really, really loved about Portugal when we purchased it was the contours. So what we've got here also is a whole bunch of contours, which is fantastic. I love interesting shaped landscapes, and this is such a special garden. The lady that used to live here before really, really enjoyed gardening. So what we've got here is a fairly mature garden. Lots of mature plants, lots of shapes, lots of borders, lots of water features that aren't working at the moment. And to be honest, I'm not really a big fan of these intricate small gardens. What I'm really looking for in the future is to spread it out, make it really big, make somewhere where the boys can kick a football. If you've been watching it in Portugal, you'll know that my lawn area in Portugal is one of my favorite spaces on the entire farm, and it was one of the first things we did when we got to Portugal was stamp out that lawn bit by bit by bit. Well, here I think one of the first things that we're going to be doing is taking away that wall and really opening up this space. But we are so genuinely fortunate that we have all of these huge palms and masasa trees to give us that newbie shade that we really need for our skin. And also they're here now, kind of like in Portugal. We've got those wonderful corcoats, those indigenous trees all around us. I think it's something Tara and I are both really, really drawn to, is the rocks and the mature trees, because once you've got those things that take millennia to create, maybe not for the trees, tens of years for the trees and a millennia for the rocks to create, you've got something, a foundation to start building and creating from. And we've got such wonderful foundations here. Okay, so we walk up these stairs here, and these are definitely not going to change. These are great stairs, and we get a bit of a better view of the entire garden below us. And this garden is a wraparound garden, so we've got land behind the house as well, and it wraps around. It's as intricate and beautiful around the back of the house as it is at the front of the house. And I'm so, like I say, I can't wait. We've got 1.5 hectares here, and this is around about 200, 300 square meters of it. So it's a very small part of what we've actually got. And I can't wait to be starting to build paths and creating mosaics and planting up into the rocks. It's going to be really, really exciting. When we first got to Portugal and we were thinking of all of these ideas, and I think one of the things we did really well with Portugal was we lived there for at least a year before we started making big changes.
Yeah.
We got to know the land and where the water was, for example, and where things sat and where things did really well, where things grew. So I think we'll probably be following a similar process here, bit by bit. And like we said before, we'll be moving between Portugal to finish off Portugal and here. So this will be kind of drip feeding into the storyline of the Newbys, isn't it?
Before we go in the house, let's take you around the back of the house so that you can see the little bit of garden that is round the back. There's a very special staircase and a lovely viewpoint around there as well. And I think that's where we're going to put a little kitchen garden, but we'll show you in a second. And then we'll wander up to the far reaches of the property so that you can get a sense of what the rest of it looks like. And then we will go inside the house.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Come and have a look. So this is our little back garden, and it's really beautiful. You can see, again, very, very mature. We've got some beautiful tree ferns, we've got these beautiful, delicious monsters, and up these stairs is a pretty special view. Come and have a look. And I wish we could make smells go through the camera, because this bush, which is called a yesterday, today and tomorrow, smells incredible. So from up here, we've got a lovely view of the house behind you there, but we've also got a beautiful view over the bush around us. And it kind of goes on for ages. You can see into the distance, the mountains, the koppies. Do you know what? Honestly, guys, it just feels so good to be home in Africa.
Over here, we've got water tanks. We are completely off-grid in terms of water here, and we will soon be, well, the hope is to be fully off-grid as well with the electricity. So we'll be fully solar, fully off-grid with the water, kind of like we will be when Portugal's finished as well. This 10,000 litre water tank right here is leaking really badly. It comes from a 2,000 litre water tank. We're going to get into all of that a little bit later down the road when I get stuck into the plumbing. I'm not looking forward to it, to be honest, but there's a lot to do. I love it.
Right, follow me around here. I'll show you where I want to put my little kitchen garden and where there's a little secret passage, if you will, to the rest of the property. So down here, we've got a pawpaw tree. It's not looking all that well. We'll see if it makes it. And a whole bunch of bananas, which is really exciting. And I've just noticed, actually, that is a mulberry tree. So, as we've mentioned, we are actually about to head back to Portugal. So John has already installed a whole bunch of our rear link cameras here, just to keep an eye on things while we're not here and to make the whole place feel a little bit more secure, which is also important. I don't know if you guys are picking it up, but this garden is just incredible for life. It is full of grasshoppers. It's absolutely bursting with butterflies, and the birds in the morning are something truly out of this world. It's incredible. So this is quite a sweet little courtyard, if you will. It's at the end of the house, the bit that I think we're probably going to end up knocking down and doing something different with. But I really love this little space. I don't know, I've got ideas for like a little kitchen garden, you know, a herb garden, lettuces, that kind of thing. But we'll see. The ideas are endless currently. There's also loads of lizards around, which the boys are loving. But these ones we call, the word that we use here is a hoho manaki. I think it's actually some kind of Ngama lizard. Anyway, they've got orange heads and blue bodies. And in this corner of the property, you can see the remnants of the cattle that were here. There's an old cow feeder here, and they would have used all of these tyres as feeding troughs. So this would have been something of a cattle yard, I suppose. Obviously, we're not going to have 100 cows on the property, thank goodness.
Yeah, we're definitely not.
We do, though, already have 4 little chickens. So as you walk up away from the greenhouse, you come into this just mecca of granite rocks and boulders. And as I say, we haven't been in there yet because we still need to clear it out. But we're in that such exciting phase of like a new project and a new property where every time you walk up here you see something different. So when we were up in that rock earlier and I said I think we've got 3 or 4 different kind of cave systems and balancing rock formations, wasn't actually sure. So as I've come up now I'm like, oh look, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's another one on the other side, I'm pretty sure. But it's just magical up here. It really is a real time of discovery walking around this property, and if you have been with us since we were started in Portugal, you'll remember those early days of kind of uncovering staircases and sweeping back the leaves and figuring out what you've got. And that's the point we're at. But we're at that point at a really unique place in Zimbabwe, in my homeland. Like guys, I have to keep pinching myself that this is real. So this marks the boundary, the top boundary of our property. And it wraps all the way around and through the bush and through the trees. And it is incredible to have all of these amazing rocks. Somewhere in there is another site of rock art, which I cannot wait to find. And once it's all clear, this is just going to be the boys' playground. They're going to be up in here exploring and discovering and adventuring, and it's going to be incredible. But I also really love that, you know, not just rocks, we also have forest. And these indigenous Masasa and all of these trees are indigenous trees. And it's just been left just as it would have been for hundreds of years. And that is remarkable. Right, I think we've kept you guys waiting long enough. Who wants to go and see inside the house?
Me!
Me! Currently standing outside the kitchen door, and this is a very beautiful part of the house because as you walk out the kitchen you're surrounded by these incredible rocks, and you kind of walk up and over a rock to get down to that bit that we've just come from and the garden with the wall. The house has, like we said, been very, very loved, but it is in need of updating, and you know, we'd love to put our own stamp on it. So we do have big plans, but come and have a look at what we've settled into over the last couple of days. Welcome to our home. So this is the kitchen, and obviously it would have had a lot more stuff in it, and we've moved some things around. We've just got ourselves a cooker and a fridge so that we could live here for the first few days, but it's a really nice big space, and the cupboards were beautifully made by a carpenter a few years ago, probably quite some time ago, but it's just, I love that it's kind of, it looks, I hope this comes out right, but it looks homemade, doesn't it? Like, it's not a professionally made kitchen, it's a kitchen that was made by somebody just for themselves, which is really special. We've got a nice big walk-in pantry space here, and what I suppose you would call a broom cupboard over here. So there is so much storage in this place, it's quite incredible. So we might keep the kitchen on this side of the house, and actually, you know what, I'm not going to dive into too much of what we think we're going to do with the place. Let's just show you what it looks like right now, shall we? This was the dining room, so there was a big table here, and then a little living room here, which opened out onto this little veranda, which goes out towards that big rock that we went up to, where the water tanks are, up the stairs. It's got this really quirky wave ceiling, the likes of which I've never seen before. It's really, really unusual. And kind of fun. I don't not love it. It just takes a bit to get used to. And then up here would be your kind of, if you're going to be fancy about it, formal living room, which is a bit of a storeroom, and we've kind of set up a tiny living space. We bought these lovely old chairs from a local thrift shop at the retirement home here in the town that we're moving to. But this is a really quirky, fun room. We've got these rocks sticking into the corner there. We've got a beautiful old Jetmaster open fireplace, which we're super excited to have. And this beautiful view out over the garden from the window here. This door opens out onto this outside terrace. And that is, some of the keys are a bit sticky. Anyway, out there is a very lovely place to have your morning coffee, listening to the incredible birds in this garden. Oh, and something about this house that's very interesting is that there is a whole heap of very quirky spaces. We're not quite sure what they were used for. But anyway, here's one. What you would think would be just a normal cupboard is actually almost another room. I don't know, what do you reckon? Harry Potter, perhaps? Sawyer, if he's naughty? Yeah, I know, John, you were thinking of doing like a bookcase with a secret door in the back, isn't it? But that's a really sweet room, I like it a lot. It's got loads of original features and it's very quirky. It needs a bit of updating, but it's just a nice space, I really like it. Down through this corridor, we go to the master bedroom, where we're all kind of camping. I've borrowed some beds and bought a bed so that we can sleep on proper beds tonight for the first time, which is exciting. We're using a blanket as a curtain. But what's lovely about this room is we've got these two beautifully made built-in wardrobes. I am desperate to dive onto those with a lick of paint. In fact, I can't wait to get a lick of paint into the whole place, really. Because I'm sure the lady that was here before loved the colours. I would love to change them, so I can't wait. And I've got plans for all sorts of funky things with the cupboard. And this like really fun little dressing table space. I've been imagining imagine the inside of this with, I don't know, a checkerboard pattern or something, and then like some bright colours just with white walls. Could be really fun, a very, very fun project. Because definitely what's initially going to be happening here is we're going to be spending time here and getting the boys settled into a bit of a school routine at the local nursery school, but we're not going to be making huge changes to the property until we've got to know it a little bit. So the time will be filled with a lot of fun, like let's make it our own home projects. Like that. I can't wait. Come through here. We've got some pretty hefty security gates. We are not moving to a place that has a crime problem at all. But previously, two ladies lived here, and just for some extra added security, they put in these gates. Toilet with quirky cupboard, number 2. I mean, having come from a very tiny one-bedroom house in Portugal, this amount of storage is going to be pretty fun. We've got just a normal linen cupboard in there, which is not all that interesting, but then through here, a huge big bathroom with a bathtub and a shower and a solar geyser. So we've got beautiful hot water all day and all night. I think one thing we might be doing as part of those initial early projects is perhaps putting the toilet in here, or moving the bathroom over to this side and turning this into a bedroom for the boys, so that we finally have our children out of our bedroom. Crusoe will be 5 by the time that happens. Down here we've got a very interesting sort of high-ceilinged skylight section, and because of the turquoise walls it's got a strange glow, which is kind of fun. And this bit of the house gets a little bit confusing, but I think it was a situation where that part was built initially and then this bit was all added on as and when there was funds available and the need arose. So it's quite hard to envisage what all of these rooms were used for, how they all fit together, which is why we think probably from this point on, we're going to knock it down. So one of the big things that really needs to be updated and fixed is the electrics. I think as things were added on, different bits were wired up and it's all a bit haphazard. There's wires running everywhere, there's plugs in funny places, and you know, some of it's to do with the off-grid system and the inverter and the battery, and some of it's to do with the actual power. So you've got this light up here, but then you've also got this funny little switch here with that funny little light. So all of it just needs to be ripped out. Basically the whole place, I think, pretty much just needs to be gutted. You've also got a mix of standard UK square pin plugs, which are the Zimbabwe standard, and then South African plugs, because there was a time in Zimbabwe where you couldn't buy appliances that had UK plugs, because everything that they brought up from South Africa, so everyone changed their plugs. So it's all a bit kind of haphazard. Anyway, through here is strange space number 3. We've got a secret hole back there. It's quite dark in here, I don't know if you're going to be able to see. Not sure what that's for. And down there is another very strange space. I think what they were having to do was build around a whole bunch of these really big rocks. So it's all a bit kind of higgledy-piggledy on the inside. Over here, you will also notice that we have an exposed roof There's no ceiling or insulation in this bit of the house. And I have to admit, and I think a lot of you might be shocked to hear this, but our entire roof is made of asbestos. Now that is not uncommon in Africa. Most buildings of this age have got asbestos roofs on them. So we do need to get that completely taken off and replaced. But obviously we're not going to do that until we know what we're doing for the whole house. Just to put all your minds at ease, asbestos is not dangerous unless it's been moved and broken up into bits and pieces with shards lying around. So living under it is absolutely fine. We're fine. And the other issue with the roof is that all of the beams, like you guys saw in the not garage, are rotten. They all have got termites in them. So the whole roof does need to come off and be completely replaced, not just because of the asbestos. So this was like a little office space, and there were 2 different offices here. I'm not really sure that we would ever use this space because I don't really know how it fits with the rest of the house. But it does lead out into the beautiful garden. So you come out through here, spin round, so you can get your bearings. And there's the garden with the greenhouse and things, and the big boulder that kind of sits at the centre of everything. So if you follow me back in here, let me show you what's left of it. Through here, we go back into this little hallway space, and then into what feels like it's going to be a separate house. So, you know, it looks like maybe there's going to be a kitchen here. There's a heap of electrics in this room, 2 different types of tiles. And through here we've got a bathroom and a bedroom. And through there, another room, a funny little cupboard, and a garage. So this is the second bathroom in the property. And actually, it's kind of sweet. I quite like this shower. You know, it's got this stone tile feature with a dolphin on the floor. Very sweetly done. And yeah, kind of handy. But just like, you know, I don't know, it's a second bedroom. It definitely feels like 2 separate houses rather than a guest room and a main bedroom. And then through there is another bedroom. Quite a little bedroom. Quite sweet. But definitely in need of some work. And that all looks out onto that little courtyard where I said we put that little kitchen garden. And then up here is a loft space. I have actually fallen down these stairs before, so I'm going to try not to go again. Your bedroom. And if we were going to keep this space, it would be a really fun playroom for the boys, or even a bedroom for them, if it wasn't so far away from the master bedroom. You know, you can imagine Crusoe and Sawyer on either side of the stairs. They would have a ball. But I don't think this is going to stay. I think it's going to go, and yeah, perhaps this was a bedroom for the kids that lived here, because there were children that lived here. So that's almost it. One last little bit to go out of. So through there, we have another bedroom, I think, or another room. It's a good sized room. Another very quirky cupboard. I don't really know what this is, but funky space. Slightly weird shape. And through here, we have a garage. Which again opens out into the garden. And that is the house. So now you've pretty much seen it all, and I'm sure you can see that we have saddled ourselves with another very exciting project. Okay, so as we said earlier, in the next episode we're going to be back in Portugal carrying on with that build of our beautiful big stone house, and we'll also be giving you guys an update of what exactly is going to be happening with that property in the future. It's very exciting, so you definitely don't want to miss it. But a big thanks for sticking with us for all of the twists and turns. For us, it's all about the journey, and our journey is taking on a brand new chapter, and we are so excited to share it with you. So thanks guys. If you're new here and this is the first of our videos that you've watched, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. It's completely free and it makes it easier for you to find our content. We're going to be filming from Portugal for the next few months, and I imagine we'll be back with this Zim project in the new year, probably sometime around mid to late February. There'll be heaps to share about how we're making the move and what it's all going to look like for 2026. And yeah, just thanks guys. Like, subscribe, leave us a comment, tell us what you think of our new property, tell us what you would do with it, what dreams are coming to mind, what ideas have you got. We are always all ears and so grateful for all of the feedback and input. And I'm going to sign off and say see you guys next time.
We don't need a destination, let's go where the river's taking us. Over the fields and through the country, letting go of everything but us. Over the rainbow. If we hold tight, we can chase the Mississippi